the game of the weekend, KC, Buffalo. Even with a weekend full of great games,
Yeah.
this is easily the best game. KC now the fourth undefeated underdog at 9-0 or better in the Super Bowl era, the first since the Chiefs in 2013. I know you got a lot of bets here and a lot of different angles, so go one by one and let people take some notes.
Yeah, so I've got two kind of prop angles here for players. I've got an in-game prop, and then I'm kind of building towards a parlay here. So we're going to play each thing along the way, and then we'll get to the parlay at the end. A few notes off the top here on the matchup. You kind of gave some good trends here. So, like, this is the game, right? This is the one that we wait all season for. We see it year after year. Mahomes is 4-3 against Josh Allen, 3-0 in the playoffs, but that means Josh Allen's 3-1 in the regular season. Good luck finding an edge. Like all the matchup stuff I try to bring you, there are no edges. Every team is good at everything here. They're both top 11 rushing and passing, offense and defense. Good luck finding the right trend. You got the Mahomes 3-point favorite or worse trend, but you got Josh Allen, anything less than a field goal favorite trend. Those cancel out. You got the fade unbeaten teams in November trend, but not if they're underdogs, not if they just won in a close game. So those trends go out for me. The Chiefs, this great second half team. The Bills are just as good in the second half. They're the two best second half teams ATS, 15-4 combined. I got no trends. I got no matchups. I don't want a side here, to be honest. I kind of want to just enjoy the game. We get these epic matchups that are close down to the end. If I had to do a side, just give you a bit of a lean of where I'm thinking, I think the price is about right. I think I'd slightly lean toward the Bills when I think they need it a little bit more. I don't need the side. So let me get to the first particular matchup I'm watching here. And this really is why I would slightly lean Bills. You want quarterback runners in this matchup. Josh Allen in the 7 Kansas City games, averaging over 10 carries a game for 56 yards a game rushing. He's had at least 7 carries, at least 32 rushing yards all 7 games. Patrick Mahomes in this matchup and in big games in his career, we all watched it. He takes off. He gets those long scrambles. In this matchup, he's at a 36-yard game, 61 and a 69-yard game. Here's where I see maybe a Buffalo advantage. Bad ankle for Mahomes. Both the last 2 games, we see him not quite looking as mobile. So I don't want Mahomes overs here. I'm not playing Mahomes. I do want Allen overs. So I'm going to play it a couple of ways. Josh Allen over 6.5 rushing attempts. I don't do a lot of rushing attempts. He's gone over that all 7 Chiefs games. And I mentioned the lean toward Buffalo. We get a couple kneel downs at the end. That's a nice way to get a couple rushing attempts in there as well if we need them. I don't think that we will. You can look at the alternates here. I see a plus 375 for 10 rushing attempts. He's hit that 5 in a row against the Chiefs. I'll probably sprinkle that a little bit. And then rushing yards as well. I'm going to play both of them. Over 30.5 rushing yards again. He's gone over that number all 7 Chiefs matchups in his career. 50 plus is plus 235. He's done that over half of the Chiefs games. So, again, we're building towards a parlay. The main plays here are Allen over 6.5 rushing attempts and over 30.5 rushing yards. I'll play those both separately. No alts in the parlays. Check the app. I'm going to have like 10 different bets on this game and different alts and all sorts of stuff. But starting there, just give me the Josh Allen rushing attempts. Give me the Josh Allen rushing yards.
Yeah, if you notice in looking back at tape at like the games that they've played, Josh Allen goes the extra mile in these contests that maybe he doesn't go in other games. There's one replay they keep playing of him throwing it down the field, like while running out of bounds on one of his career. It's just he ends up doing extra when he knows they need it, and this is when they need it. So it makes sense. What else you got?
Yeah, that's an angle that on this podcast for years, we've done the Josh Allen rushing in big games. So that's one that we know. And I will say, his averages are a little low this year. His rushing attempts and yards per game are the lowest of his career slightly. And the best Chiefs games have come in the playoffs. Again, makes sense. He's saving it for the biggest moments. This is not quite there yet. So that's why no alts in the parlay. Just those basic numbers. I think the lines are too low. All right, so that's Old Faithful number 1. Old Faithful number 2. Travis Kelce is back, baby. Travis Kelce is catching everything. Last 3 weeks of football. 8 catches, 14 catches, 10 catches. He is the receptions monster again that he once was. And if you look at over the season, Rashee Rice, first 3 games of the season, averaged 8 catches a game on 9 targets. 3 games of that, we talked about they kind of built the offense out of Rashee Rice. Then he went out for the season. So what did the Chiefs do? They took the bubble wrap off. Taylor Swift, keep your weight for a couple of months. Travis, we got to use him now. Get some catches in. He's averaged since week 3, almost 11 targets a game, 8.7 catches a game. So this is another one of those season leaders, I bet. Plus 700 for receptions leader for Kelce. He's right in the mix of things. He's getting a ton of catches lately. So against the Bills in those 7 games, at least 5 catches every game, at least 65 yards all but one of the games. Average is 7.3 catches, 86 yards. Not really overwhelming numbers. That's just Travis Kelce, basically. But the lines for Travis Kelce here, 6.5 catches, 65.5 yards. So I'm going to play the over 65.5 yards on Travis Kelce. I think that he probably gets to that 8 catches line. I don't need the receptions here. If he gets 8 catches, he's going to get the over on the yards anyway. So give me the over 65.5 yards. That's going into the parlay. And again, I like my alts here. So here's a couple alts to keep in mind. 10 plus catches, which again, he's done 2 of the last 3 games here, plus 475. And then 100 yards is plus 375. 125 yards is 10-1. Again, little nibbles if you really like the Kelce angle. But for the main bet here, over on the traditional receiving yards, 65.5 for Travis Kelce.
I just looked it up while you were talking. So in the 3 losses to Buffalo, he's averaging 83 receiving yards a game, which would say to the point that if you like Buffalo and you're kind of leaning that way and you think maybe it's more important to them than it is Kansas City's on a trailing game script. Could make sense to go over there. I like it. Do you have anything else in that Buffalo game?
Yeah, one more is just kind of in general. I think that this is just close all the way, right? Like that, this is how we've seen these teams play. So we have a way we can play that. I've got a couple of ways because of course I do. This is what we're doing here. So both teams have scored in the fourth quarter of this matchup every single game until I bet it in the playoffs last year, and then it didn't hit. We finally got one team not scoring in the fourth quarter. But 6 of the 7 matchups, both teams have scored in the fourth quarter. Now, some books, you can play that. This is like a soccer bet. It's called BTTS, both teams to score. Both teams to score in the fourth quarter, I see as a minus 195. Now, I'm not a juice better, so I don't love the minus 195 on its own, but into a parlay, that can be a good way to kind of add a little bit to the line there if you like it. And then I just think this is a game that is going to be close down to the end. I think this is a game with the way these teams play, kind of grinding it out a little bit more this year, running the ball, and the way that this just comes down. How often is it just who's got the ball last? That's what we know how this matchup goes. So I'm going to bet either team to win by 7 or less. Here's that bet. You could just make it yourself with the same game parlay. Chiefs plus 7.5, Bills plus 7.5. Every book will let you do this. You just go add in the alternate spreads, put them both in there. Just that alone is minus 125. So I'm going to play that. This is a close game bet, minus 125. If you want to add in the fourth quarter thing where they both score, then you need a plus 146 out of that instead. So that's the close game bet here. If you like it, do not put this part into the parlay. But if you like both teams to score every quarter, that has nearly hit in every one of these matchups. It did hit in one of them. In 5 of the 7 matchups, one team didn't score in 1 quarter. So probably that's where we're headed for a little bit of a heartbreak. But that is 11-1 at a book out there. And if you just think we're going to get 2 awesome quarterbacks moving the ball, scoring, nary a defensive stop, that's a fun way to go too. So the main bet here is the game close either way, plus 7.5 both ways. So here's the parlay. Josh Allen, 9 rushing attempts or more over the 30.5 rushing yards. Travis Kelce over on the 65.5 receiving yards, plus 7.5 both ways. So close game, Kelce over, Allen over, 10-1 odds on that parlay. And just in case it's not a close game, take that part out. Here's a second parlay for you with just Kelce and Allen. Allen, 9 rushes, 50-plus yards, so a little more aggressive. Kelce, 10-plus catches, 80-plus yards, is 18-1. So those are the 2 parlays. It'll all be in the app. It's a lot of numbers. I don't want to side on this game, but I want action on this game. This is such a huge, fun game. I want to have stuff to root for. We're rooting for Josh Allen to run the ball, Travis Kelce to catch the ball, and just hopefully a fun, close game all the way.
I was going to say, other than having to rewind a few times and listen to that, it will all be in the app. It'll be under Brandon's account. We have a new Parlay Express account that'll probably be on as well. So everyone can check out the action all over the board here.